Hello my dear friends, welcome again to our YouTube channel Invisible Threads. I hope my previous video was quite helpful for you. So today in this video we are going to discuss some more on electrostatics, mainly electric charges. So without any further delay, let's begin. Our first topic of discussion will be on Coulomb's law. So let's discuss what is Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law. So what it states, so suppose there is 2 point charges q1 and q2 separated by a distance r in vacuum. So here is point charges q1 and here is point charges q2. So it is separated by the distance r. So the magnitude of the force between them is given by, so the force is given by F is equal to some constant times the magnitude of the product of the two charges q1 q2 divided by r square, where q1 and q2 are supposed to be the point charges, So in the last video I have discussed what is point charge. So just for your query I can discuss a little bit how did Coulomb arrive to this relation. So you can see, suppose the charge is on a metallic sphere of q. So it is a metallic sphere of q and it is charged, suppose positively charged, and so suppose we can bring some uncharged sphere, just contact with the charged sphere of having the charge q. So we know what happens, that we can say that there will be some charge transfer from the sphere and both of the sphere will be equally charged by the value of q by 2. So suppose while repeating the process we can get the charges like q by 2 and q by 4 like this. Then for a fixed pair of charges, suppose I take q by 2 and q by 4, I varies the separation between the spheres, and every time I am calculating the forces, how much the force is acting between the two different kind of charges. In another case, what can be done? I fix the distance but vary the charges in pairs. So in this way the Coulomb arrived in this beautiful relation between the forces of the two kind of charges. So I hope you have understand. So our next discussion will be what is the value of this k. So we can write that k is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This is called epsilon naught. So this brings F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times mod of q1 q2 divided by r square. So epsilon naught is called permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space, and it has the magnitude is equal to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12 c square Newton inverse meter to the power minus 2. So in vector form we can also write, because we know the force is a vector, this is a vector quantity. So in the vector form we can write with the diagram like this is the origin O. With respect to the origin, suppose the q1 charge has the position vector r1 and q2 charges have the position vector r2. So this is the joining vector, this is r21 is equal to r2 minus r1. So this is the direction of the F21 force, this is the direction of the F12 force. So suppose O is the origin and I had mentioned about the figure. So we will write F12 is equal to force on q1 due to q2. We denoting F12 as the force on q1 due to q2, and F21 is equal to force on q2 due to q1. So and we can write r21, this is the distance vector, is equal to r2 minus r1 and r12 is equal to r1 minus r2. is equal to minus R21. This is we can write. And also the unit vectors will be R21 cap is equal to R21 vector divided by modulus of R21, and R12 cap is equal to R12 vector divided by modulus of R12. So now what can you write? That because from these two we can get R21 cap is equal to minus of R12 cap. Now F21 we can write is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times Q1 Q2 divided by R21 square times R21 cap. F12 vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times Q1 Q2 divided by R12 square into R12 cap. See, these two quantity are the same in this part only. Only the change will be that R21 cap is equal to minus of R12 cap. So from that we can get F21 is equal to minus of F12 vector. So the force acting on Q1 due to Q2 is equal to the force acting on the Q2 due to Q1, but the direction is the opposite. The magnitude is the same. So it will state that Coulomb law, you can get Coulomb's law agrees with the Newton's third law. Newton's third law. So what is this? That every reaction has its equal and opposite reaction. So up to now I have discussed about the Coulomb's law, so which tells that the force acting between these two charges. Now we will move one step ahead. So what about the forces for multiple charges? Suppose that is there in the crystal lattice. So we will discuss the forces regarding with the multiple charges. So forces between the multiple charges. Forces between multiple charges. Multiple charges. This is the important relation. So we are considering here, suppose a system of n stationary charges like Q1, Q2 and up to Qn is just distributed in the space. So just follow this figure. This is the Q2 charge. Okay. This is the origin. This is here Q3 charge. This is Q1 charge is here. So what with respect to the origin, Q1 charge has the position vector of R1 vector. With respect to the origin, Q3 charge has the position vector of R3 vector. And with respect to origin, Q2 has the R2 vector. So this will be R12 vector is equal to R1 minus R2, and this will be R13 vector is equal to R1 minus R3, right? So this is the F12 acting in this direction. This is F13 acting in this direction, and this will be the resultant force of these two, F12 and F13. We will get this from the parallelogram of the vector addition. This will be the F1. Okay, so what can you write? So our main goal will be to find the force on this charge Q1. So due to the other charges means the Q2 and the Q3. So what is the total force on Q1 due to Q2 and Q3? So we'll move with the goal that the force on the Q1 will be due to any number of the other charges, but there will be superposition of the other forces, means the force charge on the force on Q1 will be the addition of the charge or addition of the forces due to Q2 and Q3. So again, like before, we will write F12 vector, that is the force on Q1 due to Q2 will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times Q1 Q2 divided by R12 square. times R12 cap. Similarly, F13 will be how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q3 divided by R13 square times R13 cap. So the total force on F1 due to Q1 and Q2, Q1 and Q3 will be F1 vector is equal to F12 plus F13 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times Q1 Q2 by R12 square times R12 cap plus Q1 Q3 divided by R13 square times R13 cap. So this is the total charge. So now what we can do is to generalize this sum for a number of charges which is more than 3. So from the superposition principle we can know that there are suppose n number of charges Q1, Q2 up to Qn, and the force on Q1 due to Q2 will be unaffected by the presence of the other charges. So I mean like Q3, Q4 like up to Qn. So we can write for n number of charges that the total force on Q1 due to all other charges how much it will be? F1 vector is equal to F12 plus F13 plus up to F1n. We consider that there is n number of charges, so this will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times Q1 Q2 divided by R12 square times R12 cap plus Q1 Q3 divided by R13 square times R13 cap, because I am writing here the forces in the vector form, plus Q1 Qn divided by R1n square times R1n cap. So in the summation I can write it F1 vector will be Q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times summation over I is equal to 2 to n, what will be there, Qi divided by R1i square times R1i cap. So this is the force acting on the Q1 charges due to all other charges in the space. So you can see, so this is the formula, the force, the total force on Q1 due to all other charges.